100 days, people. 100 days until we get into the NFL season. The schedule's out. Over unders for how everybody's going to do that. Continue the conversation from last week. Let's go. Hello and welcome. Another week, another NFL talk here on Full Time Sport Network. Thank you for joining me. I'm Britt Smill, Bills Mafia, and I'll bring in my friend here, my buddy from Texas. You know him, Donnie Shoemaker, my friend. How
What's
you
up, Britt?
doing?
You doing good, buddy?
Hey, if I were any better, you know, I couldn't be, man. I'm loving it.
That's what's up, Britt. I'm glad you're having a good day.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you, yourself, family, everybody good
Everybody's
out
doing
there
good.
too.
Yeah, it's just getting into summer here down in
Right.
Texas. I mean, I know that that's getting into summer everywhere, but
Dude, yeah, but oh man, it hit 85
you know,
today.
realistically, like it has not been. It's been a mild summer down here. We've had a lot of rain,
Oh,
and here
thanks
on
for a
the
head up.
FTB Sport, the FTS Sports, we're bringing you the weather. But
The
no, like,
weather, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're only doing
um,
NFL and football and boxing. Pretty sure Amandi still does boxing. No, hey, we're also bringing you the weather.
hey, doing a little bit of everything down here. But no, it's been pretty mild. We've been getting a lot of rain, and so it's been feeling pretty good down
Hey,
here.
rain is we like that, man. Hey, when I want to go real quick, I know we talked a little bit of off-season moves last week, but something happened, and I don't know what
Something
it means.
happened.
I don't know. He's a great wide receiver, man, and anybody
Oh,
would have been lucky to have him 5 years ago. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
he always fell in that Julio Jones category, kind of wide receiver for me. Big name, didn't really produce. He did for a long time, and maybe granted that it was just on bad teams.
Right.
Well, his
But when you're
prime years
getting
was on
tail
a
end,
bad team.
you're not getting a prime D Hop, but you're gonna like does he demand
Yeah, yeah.
prime money? Or that like there's a minimum you're gonna have to pay the guy.
He's a damn good wide receiver, and I'm not hating on the dude. He really is not. I'm just saying that prime D Hop, like in Houston, you're not going to get that. I'm not saying wasted his golden years there, but
Them were the years you
right when
wanted.
he got into Arizona, he got injured. Boom,
Right.
all that stuff with the time off because of the off field stuff. I mean, it added up to him missing a lot of time and then not really progressing like people thought he would in Arizona.
But like a great, really good wide
And you could
receiver
say
in
quarterback.
in a time.
Yeah, that's the thing. He can stay quarterback, but he potentially had the best quarterback he ever had, besides Watson and Murray. But those couple years that Watson was there and they were playing together, he was rolling pretty smooth. But
Is there a team that if they would get him, you would give an uptick to?
let's see, who's got wide receiver issues? I mean, honestly, as a blanket statement, I feel like the wide receiver crew that we've seen in the last 2 years, in the veterans beyond that, in this new class of wide receiver this year, I think there's a very strong wide receiver class in the last couple of years. If I had to pick a team, I don't know. A crazy team, I think, would be, you've seen these guys at the end of their career, but maybe the Jets could pull off for a deal. See how Aaron Rodgers and him connect.
Oh, I love my boy. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Like I said when you were gone, I was thinking like of all the crazy because I've been thinking about teams, but they're coming into the last years. How much can he really get? He's going to take the biggest contract he can get, regardless of team. I think if I was him, but like, what if he was to go to the Jets? We got them that Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he's coming out with that, and then it's just a wild fantasy. There's probably
it's
more beneficial.
Well, like I guess what I'm looking for is almost like a baseball term, WAR. Like, do you think a team will actually win more games just because they have D-Hop?
Yes,
or
I do.
You think their wins
teams
are
will. I think
determined? He can make the game look prettier, but
I think he could win you a game or two more than you could without him on certain teams.
Okay, a whole game or two. How much are you going to have to pay him? Is that worth?
You're probably not going to have to pay him that much. Realistically, I know it's a lot when I say it in my own head, but you probably get around with like a 20. I think is the high range. Anywhere from $15 to $20 million, I think is pretty much what you can pay him for a 1-year contract. He hasn't produced really. Yes, he has the talent, but the production level hasn't been there. He produced himself a name, so it's like you're gonna pay for the name, but how much are you really gonna pay?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see and how they do. So with that, man, NFL team win totals.
Well, what about you? What team would you think he was good on?
Okay, you say the Jets. They have this good.
And the only reason I said that is because the Aaron Rodgers thing. And if you're gonna put all your eggs in one year, this would be the year that the Jets could stack. And that's all I'm saying. Okay. Seattle's also an interesting pick. You got Geno Smith, Walker is a running back. The team's kind of in that weird position where they're trying to make moves, but still like win with what they have, so they can go on to the next. It's a rebuilding couple of years. So if you're rebuilding, why not just shoot your shot and get a better contract? Get a contract with a guy like D-Hop. Probably get it on the cheap for real is what I'm thinking. Without a doubt, he's a great player, but then again, truthfully, I've never had a big aspirations, or I never really thought he was somebody to look at whenever you're doing like a draft or something like that. He's a very good player, but he's inconsistency, injuries, and stuff like missing time. I mean, that really affects your career. And teams like that, there's a couple teams that might benefit from him. You're good. You're good. Not a big deal at all. I was getting into teams that I also thought like people like I talked about Seattle.
Right.
That might be a good spot for them, because they're going through that rebuilding process.
And Geno Smith was
Pretty. I mean, he made it to the playoffs.
Status, I thought. I gave him.
No,
I gave him backhanded compliments, I guess, last season.
but still, I mean, you got teams like I hate, teams like Atlanta. I feel like you're gonna die there. You want to at least you want a team that's better than that, so at least you can showboat your talent. You're gonna go all out. Like this is the end. This is the end. So what's
Atlanta's gonna be so bad, aren't they?
I really think they're going to be very bad. I think the teams like Indianapolis would improve because they got Pittman and stuff like that, but they lack a quarterback. Well, again and again, we'll see how this year goes. But that's a struggling position. But somebody like D Hop can kind of take that edge off somebody new.
You have to be a fringe team, like just missing a little something.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Jets are a good choice. I think if you could get them on the Browns would kill this year. I think the Browns have always struggled, and they got Cooper and Moore. But if you could get D Hop, and then on the opposite side Cooper, and with Chubb, if you had that combination, you could re-sign, because right now Hunt's a free agent. You could re-sign Hunt. But probably, you signed him for $1 million 2 years ago because you were giving him a shot again. He could be a number one on a team, but I just think he's never going to be that number one guy, unfortunately, just because of everything that's happened. But, you could solidify a solid team in the Browns.
It's looking like we're going to get to them. We are going to get to them. All right. We'll get this started over. These teams are in no particular order whatsoever. The Baltimore Ravens. They're
the worst team, the best worst team.
We're looking. Most are between 9.5 to 10.5 wins.
That seems pretty reasonable with Baltimore.
It tells me like this is probably going to be a competitive division. The Bengals won't like to see that. They're going to be slated more wins than Baltimore anyway. So if you had to make an early season pick, you're probably going Cincinnati. But Baltimore,
I like Cincinnati more just as a person.
Oh, yeah.
But ODB is now a Raven. You got Zach Flowers as this new rookie that's coming up in the wide receiving corps. I really think the position that they're struggling really on the offensive side is the running back with Dobbins, but it's just Lamar runs so well.
Lamar was the running back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he runs so well. Like, it's hard to say that's like a weak positioning. I think
they can get to that 9.5, 10.5 wins.
The problem is like, as much as I don't like the Ravens for some reason, and it's because I don't really believe in Lamar. I think if there's going to be a year for Lamar with the Ravens, I think this is it. They've solidified the offense. Their defense has always been pretty strong. Anytime you think about the Ravens, you never really worry about the defense. The defense is
correct. That's supposed to be.
They know how to run a defense there, and it's continuous for as long as I've been alive. And they've been playing football way before I was born. And so, that's something that you're not really worried about. I think this is going to be a pretty good run for him. I don't like Lamar. I think that, but blah, 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 saying all that stuff doesn't matter.
Right.
This is his year to show everybody to put a sock in their mouth.
Everything is apparently kumbaya.
That's what I'm saying. They paid him. He's there. He's getting he's getting everything he wanted. He's got a solid wide receiving core. I mean, I don't see what else could go wrong for
Right.
him.
The Dallas
Oh,
Cowboys. Go
well
ahead.
over. I think well over is what I'm trying to tell you.
Well over.
I think at least a solid over.
So you'd be
I mean,
confident
they've
11,
they've 10
12 wins
games at the
season?
last 2 seasons with a team that's supposedly more lackluster than this team that they're putting out right now.
I see what you're saying.
So
You
10, 11 games isn't a stretch. I think that's like a solid what that team is. That's a 10-win team. If we were going to win the playoffs, we really got to push it hard.
okay? Yeah.
And the Chiefs have pretty much told me at the end of last year that that's the team that until Kelsey is not there anymore, because I think Mahomes is going to outlast Kelsey just as far as where they lined up as far as coming in the NFL and the positions they play. Then maybe people will start taking the edge off of the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But they're ready to rumble, and they're ready to be the team that dominates for as long as they can dominate.
A little bit longer, right? The Cowboys. You're looking anywhere 9.5, 10.5 wins for the Dallas Cowboys. I'd be hard pressed to think they won't hit that mark. But it's not the
Yeah.
regular season we're ever worried about the Cowboys, man. It's not. It's like
I'm
dude,
really
it's a good
not.
team.
It's the Eagles' show right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially in that division. If not the conference, definitely in that division.
Yeah.
It looks like the Eagles did not get worse over the offseason.
They didn't. Realistically, they got that grudge. Is what they got. They got that thorn in their side. Is what they got. Because
yeah.
no, Hurts, his quarterbacking experience in that kind of realm is not what Patrick Mahomes has. But they put up one hell of a fight. You cannot take anything away from the Eagles from that Super Bowl.
Right.
They played like a team that was hungry and ready to play, and you could just see that they had a little the new first time jitters.
It was like the Bengals.
Little stupid stuff, but it doesn't matter. And that's last year. We're going on to this year. Excuse me. As far as the Cowboys are concerned, who do you think the best weapon is?
I mean,
do you think they should have stayed with Dak?
I don't. I think it was a good decision to let him go. He wasn't even the showcase anymore, man.
No, Dak Prescott.
Oh,
not Zeke. But yeah, I am glad they let go.
I was totally thinking Zeke.
I know you were, but it's okay, and I do think the same thing as you.
No, never been a Dak fan, but the regular season's been fine.
Yeah,
it's the playoff hump, and
can't blame it on Zeke anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely the Dak show. The Cowboys back Dak, and
yeah, they did. Well, they had to get rid of one, and they've been waiting. I think on Zeke.
If it's make or break for Dak, though. Like
it has to be.
The Cowboys fail again.
Well, look at Tony Romo, man. Look who's running the organization.
That's what I'm saying.
But
then again,
it's the same. It's the same thing. You're almost there, but you're not getting there.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, Romo made it to the playoffs twice in his career. I know once for sure. I thought twice, but
yeah, first round, second. 13 games twice.
A very select few for his whole career. Great knowledge on the game, extremely knowledgeable of the game, but just couldn't. No, he is. He literally can pick out plays before they happen. I mean, I know a lot of the greats can.
Yeah, they have the fun.
He's not Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, but he's definitely when the dude talks, he knows what he's talking about.
That's fair. Here's something. I could just be missing something, but this is crazy. Jacksonville Jaguars, anywhere you look, you're looking at 9.5 to 10.5 wins.
I like it.
That's a huge turnaround.
I know.
This team
I've been saying it since we started this show, and even before. I like the Jags, man. I like that organization. I do.
So
They're the underdogs. They are. People are like, oh, a Florida team, whatever. That's not Miami. But
I was going to say, if they hit this number, not even they don't have to hit the number. If this team wins 7-8 games,
and they have consistently the last couple of years. They've been a quiet underdog. People don't talk about them.
No, dude, they just had Urban Meyer, and they were just trash. So you're telling me?
First off, I don't think they were trash. They've been going through these growing periods every year. It's not consistency. They don't have consistency with staffing.
So Urban Meyer had a good team that he didn't know how to.
No, I think the Jags last year sucked worse than they have in the last couple of years. I really do. I felt last year was probably their worst year in several years.
And they're all of a sudden.
They're a team it's right there, man. I know that program's got to be solid. It's just finding the head to move it forward. Because the last probably 3 years before that, they were hitting around 7 wins, which isn't a great team, but they were producing good players, and these players were going on to other teams that were good. Because there was a time, if you remember, that Allen Robinson and Amari Cooper were Jags.
That was a long time ago.
But you know what I'm saying?
They've had talent
in that time period. They've been slowly progressing to a better. And that is crazy as it sounds. That was probably like 8 years ago. That's how long I've been paying attention in this sport.
The Jaguars
before that.
Okay, so the Jaguars aren't a 3-win team. They're a 6-7 win team that had a really bad year last year. Because
I think they're a solid 6-7 win team.
They had management issues.
I think they have the potential to be a regular season. They could hit a wild card spot. Wild card spot.
There's 3 now, so.
Yeah, it is a little different now. You can grab onto that one, even if you're under 500, as we saw last year.
Right. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we're looking 8.5, 9.5 games.
With the Steelers, they impressed me last year. And I can't take away any kind of. I think they have the potential to. I think that they need to get the thing with Najee Harris worked out. I don't think he produced as he should have last year. I mean, and that sucks to say because I thought that would be a cornerstone of their team moving forward. But I mean, he is as far as where he's going to run for them, but the production level was down last year.
Yeah,
you're still doing that Pickett. I know. So I mean, you still going to use Pickett?
They need to find the right quarterback. I mean that's the thing, man. And until they find the quarterback means so much in this league. And if you don't have the right guy, or you could have the right guy, but you find him or you get him at the wrong time, it's not great.
Yeah, and the problem is they didn't.
Go ahead.
No, the thing is, they won just enough games where they didn't get a draft too high, and so they didn't really. I don't know. I don't think they got really a key quarterback spot in order to progress their quarterback situation this year. I mean, if your top guys are still Pickett and Trubisky, obviously you still got a problem. But I get it.
Pickett, Mitch Trubisky. I mean, it's not. It's
It's
not
not what you want to
awesome.
see. It means that unless you increase, the offensive line, you're still going to be running those. Harris is still going to be hitting those walls that he hit last year. You're not going to be able to progress the ball any further. Truthfully, I thought you lost one of your best wide receivers when you let go of Claypool to try to get
Right.
some kind of something, and it didn't really pan out. And now both the player and the team are suffering. Claypool is not doing good in the Browns as far as last year was concerned. I mean, the Bears.
Bears,
I
yeah.
don't think he's going to pick it up this year based on what's going on there. So it's just like, what are you doing? Allen Robinson is probably your best wide receiver, and he's at the end of his career. So
You've been a Claypool fan.
I'm a Claypool fan. It sucks. I didn't draft him in my first draft that I did this year. I didn't draft him because, and that's hard because I've drafted him the last 2 years, and like that was kind of like one of my staple guys. That not like a solid guy, but definitely a solid flex.
Right.
And so like it sucks. The Bears have always been a dumpster team to me as far as I'm concerned because they haven't been able to pull it off for a very long time.
Right. Seahawks 8.5, 9.5 wins.
That's a little high for me.
I still think it is too.
That's a little high. That's hard to fathom.
If you want to talk about the Seahawks for a second, bud.
You're good, buddy. So the thing with the Seahawks is, Geno Smith was great, better than he has been in his current career or his profession, I should say. He slowed down. He really got the ball where it needed to be. He wasn't so rushed. I don't know if that's to do with injuries or growing older. Not in a bad way. I think he's a veteran in the NFL aspect. But the truth is, Walker's great. Like I said, I think he's going to be a good running back, but they really lack wide receivers. And that's the thing is like Metcalf is great. I think he'll be around for a couple more years. 4. But Lockett, and then you got pretty much your third back that's kind of rotation right now. Lockett's coming off of his career. As good as he was, it's just unfortunately, I mean, every dog has its day, and that's just how it goes. I mean, we're moving forward. We watched Wilson run this team for a decade plus before last year. So I just think that they're finally getting to that stage where they realize that they have to rebuild. I forgot what he said. I think he said 8.5 wins, so 9 wins basically. That's really hard for me to see. As much as I like Metcalf, I just don't think you can't lean on. I don't think he has the potential to lean on that heavy and get that far. And for just right now with all the players that they have. Now, if somehow they can sync up, I mean, I could see a 7-game win. So you go 7.5 just to make you feel better, but hitting that 9, it's hard for me to see that. I do like Walker, and I do appreciate the way Smith has been playing last year. Just that one, it's hard for me. I wish I had his list, but tell me what you guys think. And then we'll go on to another team until he gets back. The team I really want to talk about is the Raiders. And that's because I'm not a huge fan of Garoppolo. I like Josh Jacobs. I do. It's just with the Adams. Sorry about that, y'all. Like I said, you got a solid. You got honestly probably one of the best wide receiver with Myers. Coming from the Patriots, I like Mac Jones. I just felt like the experience level wasn't there, and he has such raw talent they haven't really molded him. So I think it's beneficial for Myers to go on because I felt like he had a lot of talent. To the Raiders with the Garoppolo, I don't really know.
All right.
We're talking about the Raiders. Yeah.
Moved on to the Raiders. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
talking about how
Seahawks. What would you end up with the Seahawks?
Well, we talked about how because we talked about them before when he left the last time, kind of about Walker being very good. Just moving forward, Geno Smith is really good. And then we talked about how Lockett and Metcalf were your two wide receivers, but at the same time, Lockett's coming to the end of his career. Then you got stuff like Metcalf. You can't put it all on him because even though Geno Smith is playing potentially at the best he's played in his career, it's hard to press all on one. It's hard to put it all on one player like Metcalf. But if that Walker and Metcalf and Smith could get it all together, because the problem is outside of those three cats, you don't have a lot of offensive options.
Yeah.
And their defense we really didn't get into, but they're weaker than they have been. I mean, they're not the 12th man anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right, historically very good. Do you like the 8.5, 9 wins?
No, we actually gave them 7 wins as a courtesy.
You're right. That doesn't bode. Later on, I know what we talked about going through the schedule, but I was thinking about it. I was like, this is way too early. We need to talk about each team. We're still in free agency.
Yeah, I mean,
we want to get. We're 100 days out.
Basically,
the rosters.
Again, season camps haven't even started.
So
I mean,
I don't think it's any bother.
Pre-season, pre-draft camp. I mean, pre-camps.
So I figure we'll wait to do the week-by-week prediction like we did last season.
Yeah.
Because there's still a bunch of movement, as you see, guys still getting cut. It's very harsh, but they're setting lines. They're setting lines, and that's on how things currently are. But I don't want to. You can set a line on how things currently are. I really don't want to make my prediction on how things currently are because it could be so different.
Just based on what they drafted, what they have right now.
Right.
7 wins.
You said Vegas. Talking about them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here they're looking.
I think they have a very solid wide receiver core.
Well, if you're looking into Vegas, my friend, we're talking 6.5, 7 wins.
And that's crazy because I think they got some of the best wide receivers. But it's that Garoppolo factor, man. It is.
Didn't I see Garoppolo didn't pass his physical?
No way. They got to still play him. No way. They paid money for him this year, and they let go of Carr.
Dude,
they have to play him.
I could, but I saw.
I don't.
Or
so Hoyer? You got Hoyer, basically?
Hold on, man. Now that I said it, I should have.
Okay, I'm saying you got to play Garoppolo. I mean, that's hands down. You're going to play him. There's no way you're not. You just booted Carr, who realistically was not the option anymore. I'm sorry. I was a Derek Carr fan, and I'm not saying he was a bad quarterback. I just felt like he had his chance, and they gave him chances and chance. The dude ran the team for almost a decade.
All right. So to clear the air, he technically failed his physical due to his injured left foot. but the Raiders gave him an injury waiver and signed him anyway.
Because you have to.
I know they have to.
You let go of your dude. Like, what do you do after?
And then the Raiders are like, crap.
What do you do after that? I mean,
do we still have? We have to sign him, right? He has a.
You have to.
Foot. He has an injured left foot.
You didn't get Aaron Rodgers, so you have to sign somebody.
We still got to sign.
That's what all those like mediocre teams were waiting for. They're like, can we get Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, and apparently, guess who's at the top of the list if Jimmy gets put in a cast?
Hoyer or O'Connell?
Retired guy.
Carr? No.
Retired guy.
Retired guy?
Yeah.
Who?
Again. TB12.
Huh. No way. Oh, because didn't he like buy part of that? He found that worked out? Because I heard there was a proposal that he owned some of that.
He's at the top of the list to fix their quarterback situation if Jimmy Garoppolo gets put in the cast.
He's like, dude, I got to make something out of this NFL career. I screwed my whole life up because I played 1-2 seasons.
He's leaking Tom Brady comeback rumors.
I know. I honestly feel like he should have just stopped after he won that Super Bowl. That would have been the total FU, and he could have moved on. For real. Because he showed everybody it was me, not the Patriots. And then, boom.
So you think
it was a mixture of both, though. Reality is it was a mixture of both Belichick and Tom that won all those rings. But
you go for the Raiders over this 6.5, 7.5 stuff.
Truthfully, no, man. I think it's going to be right at that 6 mark. I think it's going to be below. I think 6 is a good total marker. I don't believe in Garoppolo. Even if some reason Tom Brady come back, which I don't think he is.
I still don't.
I think he's paid into running some of that or owning some of that organization. So
yeah.
Can you even be a quarterback from part of an organization that you own? Is that allowed?
There'd have to be some sort of have to be some sort of waiver in the money cut he'd get as an owner. He wouldn't. You know,
you probably couldn't. It'd be one way or the other, and you couldn't write.
Paid as the owner, and so he'd have to waive his owner. And
why? You'd waive your player. You make way more as an owner than you do as a player.
That's why he'd have to take the player's salary.
No, he just couldn't. Okay, I can see that.
Crazy amount of money.
I mean, truthfully, Tom Brady's playing and he owns some of the Raiders. It's pretty much just Tom Brady owning his own team and calling his own
I don't think he's a board member.
No, but the truth is,
he has a job in the office, in the front office. It's not like you see Tom Brady in the front office.
No, he's the owner.
Stock holder.
No, he'd probably run. He'd probably be an owner, but he'd probably be on the field doing a lot of training.
I don't freaking know, man. But that.
He has so much knowledge. Why wouldn't he be down there like helping his team win? He's not going to be like, I'm going to buy a team and then I'm just going to say, F it. I just own some of it. Let them do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. This team's taking a tumble, but I don't know if they are tumbling like this. Vikings, pretty solid across the board, 8.5.
That seems fair. Cook's coming to the end of his career. But, man, Jefferson's probably the best wide receiver.
You don't think they could get to 10?
I think I don't really like Cousins.
Okay, like, here, we got the Packers at 7.5. The Bears at 7.5. The Lions. The Lions at 9.5. Yeah, I said Green.
Well, the Lions, I think they're gonna. I think the Lions have a chance to run this division.
You think the Lions? So, what do you think about
Truthfully,
that 9.5 for the Lions?
I think that's a solid number. I think 9-10 wins is legitimate Lions potential.
Going to win, And you think 9-10
I
wins?
think they have a solid
that
chance of
division?
winning this division. I don't like. I mean, look at Cousins has a great career. If you were
Oh,
strictly
he never
looking at
did.
paper, looking at strictly at the paper, if you did not watch the games, just look total stats.
And
Cousins is like one of the best quarterbacks in the last couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like top five, I'd say top four. Top three is a little scary, but top four for sure as far as statistics are concerned. Eye test, you're not seeing that.
Oh yeah, he does. He does not pass the eye test.
That's what I'm saying. It's like an Alex Smith kind of thing. You never got an interception. You got your team to the playoffs because ball handling skills, but you're not ever going to win because you're afraid to go for it. And he's not afraid to go for it. He just Cousins goes for it too much. That's the problem. Right. He's not afraid to go for it.
Would you classify him so you would call him a gunslinger?
I think he is, yeah. His accuracy is definitely improved over the year. He knows how to run the ball, but he's had. I mean, 2 years ago, the Vikings should have won the Super Bowl.
Like he pushed it downfield and not check down.
You know what I'm saying? They're a solid team, but now Cook's coming to not the end of his career, but he's definitely, I think, past the prime of his career, unfortunately. He was just really injury prone, you know?
I know.
And I hate saying that about dudes, but it's just like, I've never played football. Good for you, buddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it is what it is. And he was a very good running back. And so it's just like, come on now.
So you're a Viking fan. You hit 8.5.
I'm not a Viking fan. Like, let's just reel that back in. But
no, I'm just
I think Jefferson is a very wide receiver. I think that Cook, Cousins.
I'm just saying they should be 8.5, 9 wins.
8, I think it's solid.
Viking fans should.
I think they're definitely going to be a run for the first place, but I really do feel the Lions are going to finish first in this division.
Cool. Chiefs are going to win 12 games, right?
Oh, yeah, plus. Oh, yeah. They're always going to get even if they don't, watching them play football at the end of last season, like.
They're going to win 12, 13 games.
It's like they're just playing backyard football.
Yeah,
straight up. It's like a bunch of youngins just got together and they're throwing this ball, and then it always gets where it needs to go. Right. But it's not. It's because they're having so much fun and they're so skilled that like they make it look like it's a backyard football game. But yeah,
Vegas is probably like, can we give them 14? Can we really?
I want to know the payout on the team that is against them in the Super Bowl. Like, oh, that's how you're going to make money in the Super Bowl for the next couple of years is if they lose.
11.5 seems low.
Because let's be real.
Like, you're taking the over all day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, this seems like a take it to the bank, cash the check right now.
Yeah. All the veterans are gone. Those veterans.
I'm not saying everybody does that.
Yeah.
No, don't go out and wait and throw your money out on gambling. I'm not giving you a
No, you shouldn't gamble. I'm just gonna say that right now.
But I'm just saying, for gamblers out there, this 11.5 for the Chiefs, you're like, this is easy money.
Yeah, I do think they're gonna win more than 12 games.
Bills,
good.
10.5. I think we can win 11 games.
Under.
Damn, man.
Bro, y'all. Last year was a struggle for y'all, man. It was.
Dude, I'm Bill.
You were like at the top the year before. You climbed that mountain easy. Dude, like bunny hops. And then you hit the Black Diamond last year and you were like, nah, that ain't happening. Struggled left and right. Still don't have a running back.
Oh, come on, man.
You don't.
Look, Cook.
Some reason you can't do it.
Cook's going to be fine. I'm telling you.
He's not.
He's going to be the running back. Yes, he is.
No.
You see that boy running Georgia?
Singletary still up in that? Okay. Not saying it can't happen because you've called running backs taking time before and they panned out. but
running back ain't our issue.
it is. You rely too much on a quarterback who's too
Whoa, here we go. That
too inconsistent, man.
Okay, so why you talk about running back, bud?
Because that'll take a load off of him. He's always trying to scramble, which he's good scrambling, but like to a certain extent, he's not good. He needs to stay in the pocket and not rush stuff.
You just said if the Bills are going to do anything, they need a different quarterback.
I think, wow, really? You're saying that right now?
Oh, that's not what I said. That's what you just
said. But no, actually, I didn't. I don't think he's going anywhere. Not this year. They're definitely going to play him this year.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But
we're not. This ain't.
But you tried to focus that whole team around him for the last 3 years, and it paid off 2 years ago. But the year before that, they squeaked by, right? And then the year after that, that was the best year they played. And then last year, they kind of like almost fell apart. They held it together enough.
Harsh words, but yeah, that's how it felt.
Felt like, yeah, you had 3 strong tires, but one was wobbly, and that just like it was good enough to stay on track, but not good enough to finish first.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a combination, but I think if you had a better running back, that would take more pressure off of Allen. I do, personally. I do.
Really?
And if every team realizes my running back doesn't really run, he blocks, and I basically just try to see what happens in the air.
That's why Allen plays the way he plays.
No. I think he would slow down. The game would slow down in general if you had a solid running back.
You think he would?
I think your game in general would be better.
Brett Favre ain't changing his game because of the running back.
Well, that's a different level.
Never changed it. You really
different level of talent.
I'm not. We're not talking about talent. We're talking about style. He does the exact.
Okay, but that's exact. Well, it's the same thing. You can't talk about. Like, we can't stop. Come on now. Yeah, there's different styles, but it doesn't matter. It's the level. It's the level of success that person's with that style. You can't say just because they're the same style, we can argue that they should be able to run the team the same. That makes no sense.
What I'm saying is, Josh Allen is who he is. You really think he's going to play different because of the running back?
Yes. If you want to win, you have to progress as a player.
I don't think his.
And there's a lot more rules now than there was when Brett Favre was playing.
How Josh Allen plays the game.
You know, I do. I think if he had a running back, it would change the way that the Bills in general would run the scheme of the game if they had a better running back.
No.
That's what I think.
I still think we'll win more than 10 games. 10
I don't.
I mean,
I'm giving you like 7 to 8.
12.
7 to 8.
I'm going
Last year, you told us you were going to lose one game, and that was over like week 4.
Jets over under 9.5, pretty much across the board. I like that number.
I think 9's a good win total for the Jets. I know 10 would be over, but it's just like 9's a good. I honestly think Aaron Rodgers is going to try to push out like a career season right here. I think he really felt mistreated in Green Bay for a while. And then when he gave up that win, I know he gave up that win in the playoff games 2 years ago. I know he did.
You have to word it, though.
I don't.
Non-confirmation way, bud.
Why? That's my opinion. Okay? And my opinion is based on the looks and the ability that we saw going up into that game, and I've seen for the past decade plus. Literally saw that dude come into the NFL, win his Super Bowl the first year he took over from Favre, and then never reached that level again. But I also saw that guy play some amazing games, and the fact that they lost to the 49ers, and granted the 49ers went on to the Super Bowl that year, but still, their defense was amazing because that's the only reason they even got that far. But still,
That offense was piss poor in that game.
Or didn't they lose? Did they lose? Was that the year they lost to the Bengals and the Bengals and the Chiefs played? Yeah. So they lost to the Bengals, right? The 49ers.
They lost the NFC Championship game
Yeah.
to the Rams.
Was it to the Rams?
Yeah.
Okay, and the Bengals. No, I thought the Bengals and the Chiefs played the Super Bowl. So that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago is when the Rams won that Super Bowl. Was it 3 years ago?
2.
2?
3.
3. That's what I thought. 3. Okay. 3 years. 3 Super Bowls ago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They lost to the Rams in the NFC Championship game that year. They shouldn't even been in that game because
I think it was 2 years ago.
It should have been Rams Packers.
But
The championship game.
yeah, and that's what everybody thought. And they gave it up to the 49ers. Barely scored any points.
Did not play well.
The look on his face at the sideline was like, F this team. And then they came out and gave him a $214 million contract for 4 years. The next year,
they redid his.
And he stuck it in their eye again and was like, all right, peace.
And then he demands a trade. And not so
well, it's because that whole team sucked. They got rid of all of his weapons. I mean, Adams was gone. Lazar, you know, who was running the ball? Eddie Lacy was probably their last best running back. And he's been gone for years before then.
Yeah. Yep. Lions 9.5. We kind of talked about that. You like that number?
I like that number.
You'd confidently over like this a 10-11 win team?
I think this is a 10-win team.
The 10-win team?
10-win team.
That's some confidence right there, bud.
Detroit's been coming on. And I liked Detroit back in the day when Stafford and Megatron were running the show, you know. But then I kind of like fell off because they just like Megatron was my first favorite player, you know. So it was like
he was good.
Watching that stuff, and then boom, man.
They couldn't win.
Oh, that's just because of the whole. I just think
that whole team was. Or they had with Stafford and Megatron.
That's what I'm saying. They built it around just throwing the ball to that one guy.
Yeah.
That was it. But granted, he still has the highest league average. I mean, most points ever in one season for a wide receiver.
Niners, 10, 11, 12 wins.
Oh, 12 is steep, bro.
So you don't go the 11.
Who? Trey Lance is their quarterback this year?
It's looking like it's going to be Trey Lance. Yeah.
Is it? Man, I don't know. I like Bosa on defense. I think this is a solid team. I really do. You know, and then you got Debo and McCaffrey.
And McCaffrey, this is a.
Oh, what about Purdy? Is Purdy going to be the quarterback?
Well, they don't have depth charts yet. So.
You would think it would, though, be Lance because kind of like him that chance last year and then he got hurt. Truthfully, man, I think this team's.
I always felt the assumption was this was Trey Lance's job. Didn't matter how Purdy did. It didn't.
Because really, I mean, Garoppolo got him to the playoffs, and they still booted him for Lance. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's farther than they got in a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Garoppolo's always gotten there, man. He can get to the show, but he can't win it. That's the second time he almost got to the show in his career.
This is a 10-win team now?
It's a 10-win team. Their defense is solid. It's their Debo's so good. I want to say like 8-9.
See, I don't think that's.
10's hard for me to say, dude. 10's hard.
This is later on in the year or later on before the season starts, we'll go through the schedule. Maybe we will come up with 11, 12 wins for this team. But it's
Yeah,
hard to say the 49ers are a 10-win team.
and McCaffrey. McCaffrey's the running back still. So the weapons, it's just man, I don't know, dude. It's that quarterback selection.
Yeah. How do we feel about the Chargers at 9.5?
As much as I like Herbert the last couple of years, I think I gotta.
They're on the down tick.
I think he's on the down tick, man.
That's a bummer, man.
I like Palmer. I think that it's not. But I had hopes from him coming into the last year.
And
it's hard for me to say.
Up to our hype, but is that their fault or our fault? Sorry for believing.
I think their fault because the team.
Yeah.
They introduced people last year that they were supposed to have a very solid defense.
Did we overhype them then?
You know.
Is that what happened?
Or
did they let us down?
I hope I didn't hype them, but yeah, I did. I mean, that's the truth. I really liked their team coming into the beginning of last year. I like Herbert. You know, they picked up Allen, right? Or is Allen was on that team? Or was he on the other? Yeah. So Allen's coming to the end of his career. He has been in charge for quite some time.
Structured Eckler's deal.
And that's what I'm saying. As good as Eckler was 2 years ago, I felt like that team struggled running the ball last year. Yeah. They struggled really. When Herbert got hurt, they couldn't move the ball nearly as well. And he got hurt at the beginning of last season. They really kind of they were touch and go after that.
So what do they really think of Eckler? They didn't give him an extension. All they did.
He's sufficient, but his body frame isn't somebody that you're gonna like hold on to for a long time because he produced that first year, or this is what, fourth or fifth year, third year.
They didn't pick up the option, so he's probably in the middle of a 4 or 5 year contract.
Yeah, that's what I was like. He's like 4 years in. So like the first year he was getting there. You could see the talent. The second year he really pushed off. That's when they were moving the ball pretty heavy. But that was also Herbert's rookie year, and you could put that into they don't have a lot of game tape on him because he really moved that ball that first year.
Herbert's a fine quarterback.
But last year,
Josh Allen's a fine quarterback too, but not everybody can get the job done.
And I don't know, man. I think actually they're both about sufficient teams with each other. I just think that the Bills just had they were stringing it together more properly than the Chargers were. Maybe because they had like longevity, something. Because the Allen situation has been there a little bit longer than the whole Herbert thing. But anyway, I feel like Eckler's not the guy. Last year he struggled. The whole team struggled.
So, heads up, Charger fan, if you get the 9 wins, you should be happy with your season and stop complaining.
Stop complaining. That's harsh to say, man.
Yeah.
I like the Chargers. I just feel like last year kind of showed maybe that 1 year.
There's more missing than.
Maybe we need a little bit more than we thought we needed coming into that because we really went defense heavy last year as far as everything that happened off season with the Chargers, and that didn't seem to really help. Granted, we picked guys that were like coming with solid defensive guys, but they were veterans ending their careers.
Commanders, 6-7 wins.
Gotta love that McLaurin, but yeah, that's probably realistic.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to beat Dallas. They're definitely not beating the Eagles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think there's too much to talk about with Washington.
I feel bad for McLaurin because he's one of my favorite wide receivers. And he's signed that 5-year contract last year. So
like 6 wins, 6-7 wins. They're not even looking at a wild card spot. So I don't. Panthers 7-8 wins. Do you see this?
No bullshit. I have a better faith in the Commanders getting those 7-8 wins than
And the Panthers.
Carolina, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I
That's
don't
the whole
really.
team's just kind of flagrant to me, man. Just it's been rebuilding for a couple of years, and it's continuously. It feels like it's getting worse before, but it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I don't like the 7.5. I'm like,
I would think more like 5, 6.
it's like I know they're better than Atlanta, but
Well, Atlanta's just like,
that's not a bar you really seek to achieve.
yeah, I know.
There's no bragging about it. What do you think about this? This seems slow to me, but maybe it's not. Colts at 6.5.
I think that's about fair. Man, I had such high hopes too for
That's just their running
Indianapolis.
game, dude. And some of the wins they pull off.
The running game was not what it was the year before.
Yeah. Speaking of going back to this division, the NFC North, Bears at 7.5.
Fields still throwing them the ball. I don't like. I think the Bears are like that 4 or 5 win team. I like Claypool. Don't get me wrong. I want them to be good. Herbert's their running back, and he was supposed to be good. But, man, they give me very, very little faith to think that they're actually going to do something more than that.
Do you think they could, though? Like, you go look at this team. Hey, they could win 7-8 games, but from what I've seen, they have the talent too. But I don't see it. They'll probably just win 5 or 6. Is that kind of how it is? Like, you think, like, is 7 even the high end, do you think?
Yeah,
If
they've had
goes
talent
right,
before.
if everything goes right,
It's pretty high to
they
me.
could win. It's still too high.
I would argue 6 is probably high. I do. The thing about it, Fields was a little bit better last year. He was.
I like.
I mean,
Fields.
Claypool, I think he needs a more disciplined team, though. So I don't think he's going to really accelerate on that team. I really don't. I don't feel like that's going to happen.
Well, I don't
and as
like
far as
him.
I'm concerned,
He's a Buckeye. I can't like a Buckeye, but I think he's not the problem in Chicago.
what do you think the problem is?
It could be then. I mean, they have decent amount of talent. They're bringing in people, so this year will tell you, hey, if they don't do anything, they got to cut and run from Fields. But they backed him for this year.
Well, they backed years and last year for sure.
Yeah.
So this will be his 3rd year. I mean, this is the year that really decides, are we going to potentially franchise tag you or are we going to give you a contract? I mean, if you get franchise tagged, that's pretty much just saying, hey, we don't believe in you, but we're going to keep you until we find something better. It's not saying that we're going to give you another chance. I mean, they're going to sign you that new contract for year 3.
Yeah. You're right about that, dude.
So I don't know. It looks like Foreman is their lead running back right now. So maybe that'll do something. I really don't think that's the case, though. I think that they really need to improve their offensive line. Is Fields the answer? No, but adding these like makeshift wide receivers isn't the answer either. I mean, DJ Moore's your top wide receiver. Not saying anything against him, but you're bringing in these guys that are almost top level, but not quite. And if you have 3 mediocre, not saying mediocre, but you have 3 moderate players, doesn't equal 1 good player. So it's better to get an all-star and then 2 supporting casts than just a bunch of supporting cast. It's kind of what it feels like.
Right.
Because Claypool, I think, could be a wide receiver 1 for sure. I just think his showboat attitude and the way he plays for himself, not for the team. And that's not what the Bears need. The Bears need a player that will sacrifice to make that team better. And that's not the kind of player I view him as. And to each their own, you got to play for yourself because at the end of the day, you and your family are the ones that have to deal with stuff outside of the NFL. So I understand that.
Right.
But it's just, I don't think that's going to be a benefit as far as like making that team better this year.
Right. I agree with that. All right. Well, we'll call it there. We can pick up this conversation next week and get on to the other teams and maybe, and whatever else news happens within the NFL from here until then. But thank you for joining. Donnie, thank you
Thanks, Brad, for having me on.
for getting in here. It's always loving doing the show. Season 2, man. Season 2, here we go. 100 days away. 100 days away. Lots of time between now and then to change your
Season
mind.
2, what do you mean? This is that we've done this?
Yeah.
This is season 3, buddy.
Have I lost time? Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh.
It totally is. Yeah. There we go. Here, see, out of it. All out of stores. But thank you all. We'll see y'all next Wednesday here, Full Time Sport Network, bringing you NFL coverage here through the table. Take care.